But there's never been a platform built to honor people like you. So it's good. You brought if it wasn't for you bringing this out, getting attention to the where they're gonna be playing your presentation.
Tyrha. Oh, sorry.
Dr. Tyrha Warren.
Change is strong, and you can experience it at Gold's Gym. For a limited time only, join the most supportive and dedicated community in fitness for just $1. Get access to the latest cardio and strength equipment, the best group exercise classes, and expert personal trainers dedicated to your success. A stronger you is waiting at Gold's Gym today. Visit goldsgym.com/dollar for a free pass. Offer ends January 31st. Valid with select new memberships at participating locations only. Commitment required. Annual fee and other restrictions may apply.
You want us to pose or be at the moment? Good morning. How are you? It's good to see you. Yes, it is. Oh, we done brought us to Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay.
Central Texas #1 for hip hop and R&B. That's us. We're 94.5 The Beat, home of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. And of course, we take you home every afternoon with the deal. Hughley Show. You're listening to Inspirational Sundays with Pastor C and DJ Lady J. I want to appreciate those of you that have been listening this morning, and we have a special treat for you. We have Dr. Tyrha Warren here. She is the coordinator, facilitator, creator of the International Faith and Family and Faith International Film Festival, which will be held February the 6th through the 8th at the Hippodrome. And just want to say good morning. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, I've been to find out because you told me that you can sing a cappella and that you're a jazz singer. So I had DJ
Reggie D. Royal.
Reggie D. Royal. I had Reggie D. Royal to kick some bars. That's what y'all call it?
Yes, sir.
Split some bars and all of that. So could you give me just a little of that voice today? This is Dr. Tyrha Warren.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let my light shine, let it shine. And that's what we're doing, Reverend C. We're letting our light shine with the 2020 Waco Family and Faith International Film Festival. And yes, I am a professional jazz singer who's opened up for Jonathan Butler, Kirk Whalum, Pieces of a Dream, have performed all over the world. So that's what we're doing on February 6th through the 8th.
I'm still at awe with all that singing. Joyce, get one of those membership sign-up cards to Open Door. Get her a membership. You can lead the praise team. That's outstanding. And, you know, we are blessed to have you in this area. You know, a lot of time, people, we want things to happen, but we don't have the right people to make it happen. And then when God positions people in position to make it happen, we have to support those people. And just let me say this it's not the first time I've told you this, but we are grateful to have you in this area. And I don't know how long you're gonna be here, but you and your husband, Sydney, y'all have really had a positive impact.
Thank you
And-
so much.
And tell us a little bit more about, man, you just a singer. You might have to sing your way out before we let you out of here today.
Okay, I can do that.
Tell us what's happening again with the Family and Faith International
Yes.
Film Festival.
We are super excited. We are less than 30 days away, believe it or not. And you just heard from Reginald Curry this morning, one of our local filmmakers. But we are presenting an international film festival, Reverency, that's family friendly, mostly free, to be honest with you. Does not have any films of profanity, nudity, or violence. If you are a faithful person, which that's what I have observed being in Waco, you want to come celebrate your faith as well as your family at this Waco Family and Faith International Film Festival. And so we have wonderful things happening. We're honoring Gina Neely, who's a former star of the Neelys, or the Down Home with the Neelys on the Food Network. We have Mr. Hercules himself, if you remember him, Kevin Sorbo and his wife Sam Sorbo. We have local performances by singers and opera singers and dancers, and I may even do something, throughout the festival. So free gifts, it's just a family celebration. Over 60 films we're presenting from all around the world. 15 films are by African American filmmakers, or those from African descent. So whether that's Ghana and other countries in Africa. So we just want everybody to come and support this event that's empowering the creative spirit, serving with heart, and celebrating all.
I'm excited. I'm gonna tell you how excited I am personally. I found my thing to put around my stomach so I can push my stomach in so I can wear my formal jacket. Because I'm walking that red carpet. I ain't never had a chance to walk red carpet. I'm walking down that red carpet.
Wonderful.
I couldn't hardly breathe the other day, but every time, as I was about to lose my breath, I said, but I'm gonna look good walking that red carpet. Lady J and I, we're excited. And when things of this magnitude, you have brought something we've never seen. I've never heard. It's never been announced. My ear is always to the ground. But I've never heard anything like this being in our city. And I want to say you're African American, and it's during Black History Month.
Of course, that's why we did it.
Yeah, that's why we have to come support our very own. We could have the next Spike Lee could be
That's
right
right.
here. The next person that you will see all over Hollywood.
That's
and
right.
You've been to Hollywood anyway.
Yes, I started my career in Hollywood. So I actually went to film school at Northwestern University in outside of Chicago, and started my career at NBC by way of the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. So if you're familiar with the Emmy Awards, the Academy produces the Emmy Awards, and I was one of 28 young people that particular year to receive this prestigious fellowship. And believe it or not, out of that 28, I was one of 2 African Americans. And so I was placed at NBC in the Children's Programming and Development Department. And we were developing TV shows and went to CAA, Creative Artists Agency, and then spent the bulk of my time developing TV and film properties with Quincy Jones, David Salzman Entertainment. And if you've heard of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Mad TV, I worked on all those shows and some films you've never heard of. But we also produced the Oscars. The Oscar nominations get announced tomorrow. So I always love this time because it's also award season in Hollywood, and that's another reason why we placed the film festival in February. But it was a wonderful opportunity to be able to be a part of Quincy's team, to be a part of the Oscars ceremony that particular year.
And you know what? I've gotten older, so my filter ain't as like it used to be. I want to appreciate the fact that you have not abandoned your ethnicity. I want to appreciate you being the same person. Only one of the 2 people that was chosen to do that, and you continue to work in the Black community.
Well, the thing is, I say to my students at Baylor, where I teach marketing, and during my speaking engagements, that I've been blessed to work for 5 living legends, if you
Wow.
will. So Quincy Jones was the first. After Quincy, I went to help Babyface and his wife at that time, Tracy, start their production company at Men's Entertainment. So I worked on Soul Food, if you remember that movie. Then transitioned to New York City, where I lived for the past 13 years before coming to Waco. And my first living legend there was Miss Judith Jamison, who at the time was the artistic director for Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, one of the preeminent modern dance companies in the world, and I was the PR director. Believe it or not, I was the first African American PR director for Alvin Ailey. After Miss Jamison, I was on the communications team for Reverend Al Sharpton during the first Obama administration's educational tour, and then worked for Byron Lewis as the head of his PR company at Uniworld Group, which is the longest standing multicultural advertising and communications agency in the United States. So those are my living legends, and I have been blessed to work closely with all of them. And one thing they all have in common, Reverend C, is they are committed to presenting positive images of African American and people of color in TV, in the performing arts, in digital, in music. And so, you know, I'm one of all, you know, their children that they have planted seeds in, and we're all around the country, and we're all on this journey, because if we don't do it, who will? And that's kind of like this film festival. If I don't do it, who will? Because we need to change perceptions of how people of the majority see us, quote unquote us.
Yes.
Because if we don't do it, Hollywood's not doing it. You know, I've worked so long in Hollywood trying to get my projects off the ground, you know, that feature people of color, especially women of color, and it is not easy. I've raised $10 million, I've lost $10 million. I've raised $10 million, I've lost $10 million. So I'm tired right now. And so I'm just doing it myself, because we have to demand change. And in order to do it, we have to do it.
Well, you know, I always feel like filmmakers are visionaries.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see it before you can present it out there. So, you know, it's like what you're doing is the vision. Did you always want to do this when you was a child?
Oh my
is that
gosh,
what you
yes.
wanted to do?
Mm-hmm. You know, Cindy and I come from Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where I grew up. And I grew up in the arts. So, you know, singing and dancing professionally. I even have a degree in musical theater from Northwestern, so I have 2 degrees from Northwestern. But my father would not support me majoring in acting at Northwestern, right? He's like, it's one of the top 10 schools in the country, you're 3rd in your high school class, you're gonna do what? And I went to a school, it's called the School for Creative and Performing Arts. So if you're familiar with Nick Lachey and Carmen Electra, they were all in my class. We all went to school together, and there's so many Broadway stars, you know, that I've gone to school with at SCPA. But he was like, you're too smart, you're too intelligent. How are you gonna make money? And so one day, if you remember this show called the Ebony Jet Showcase that used to come on Sunday mornings, and in Cincinnati it came on like at 6 a.m. on Channel 5. And so I would get up every morning and watch the show before we went to church. And one episode was on African Americans behind the scenes, right? You know, directors and producers and writers. And I learned about what a producer is, because at that time in the Producers Guild, it was less than 1% African American. The Directors Guild had less than 2% African American, and the Writers Guild had a similar percentage. And so I was introduced to a producer, what a producer does, through Spike Lee, you know, who was featured, and Robert Townsend, who was featured on the show. And then I did my own research, and so I went to my dad and my mom, and I said, hey, I'm gonna major in producing. It's business and creative. And my father, who started his career at IBM, it sounded okay to him. And so he was like, as long as there's business in there, it's okay, you'll make some money. And so, yeah, at Northwestern, and then in LA, I was actually being trained to be a TV studio executive. So.
Wow, wow. Well, you know, you have skins on the wall to prove it. You know, you mentioned Robert Townsend. I remember that movie, his first movie. He said he maxed every charge
He sure
card
did.
he had to. But you know, you don't think about that now. But look,
Right.
you have to have faith and confidence in you. You have to release the anchor and just glide on out into your destiny. And I want to appreciate you coming now. Do you think that you can do another song before we go? But first of all, before you go, tell us again, when is this going to be taking place? I know you got to come back up here before
Oh,
then.
we'll be here every week. Great. That's what we agreed to.
Oh, yeah.
Every week up until, Waco Family and Faith International Film Festival is taking place February 6th through the 8th at the Waco Hippodrome Theater and at surrounding venues. Like, we have 6 churches involved, like Carver Park, like Tolliver Chapel Missionary Baptist Church. We have Baylor University. We have other venues. And I want to say that tickets are only $5 at the Hippodrome only. The rest of the venues, the screenings are free. So all you have to do is walk on in, be welcomed, and see some fabulous movies. And I also want to thank our founding partner, TFNB Bank, Your Bank for Life. Magnolia is our award sponsor. Creative Waco, Z's at the Curry are our gold sponsors. And then we have some wonderful community sponsors as well. But I would be remiss if I did not thank them for their support.
That's great. That's great. And I like what you said. I'm gonna kick this little ball free. Okay, now we have a few more minutes, so go ahead and do me one more little portion of a song. This is Dr. Tyrha Warren live in the studio here.
May his peace be with you till we meet again. May his peace be with you till we meet again, till we reach that distant shore and we tarry there. No more may give you strength to endure till we meet again.
That ain't even fair. I'm just gonna tell you. That ain't even fair to have that kind of talent.
Yeah.
What does Sydney sing or play instrument, anything like that?
Believe it or not, he plays the violin.
Oh, that's
But
right.
he won't ever do it for you.
Well, I want to appreciate you stopping by, and you're going to be back again next
Yes,
week, and
next Sunday.
you going to bring another artist with you?
We sure are. We're bringing Tori Ewing, who's one of our filmmakers, who's developed a short film based on Sesame Street. She's going into children's programming, just like how I started my career, and we're super excited. And she's African American, believe it or not, graduated with her master's degree from Baylor, and has been working for Sesame Street in New York City.
Oh, wow. Well, we want to appreciate you stopping by. Let's celebrate Dr. Tyrha Warren here on Inspirational Sundays.